Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. This is Austin Linney here. We've got the legendary Mr. Mark Simpson in the house. How are you doing, sir?
I am really, really good. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me back. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man, we have so much to get caught up on. Guys, if you didn't listen to Mark's first episode, please do. Heavily in the direct booking arena, where he builds website for STR owners, but published author. You just went to America and spoke at an STR conference, and I mean, so many good stuff. So, I guess, we're at an interesting time right now. You're starting to see regulations either be talked about or put into, it's probably the question I get asked every day. What's your long-term view on short-term rentals? I have my own theories and my own strategies that we're using. Just curious where you are with kind of your advice to people when they're always asking about, is it going to be something forever and all that stuff like that. And I have to remind them that you do understand this has been around for 100 years, people renting out their houses, right? So
yeah, no, 100%. It's the oldest. It's one of the oldest form of currency. It's the other form of like, there possibly is. So it's always going to be a talking point. And I feel what's going to happen, or what is happening, and it's happening not just in like the US or Canada, it's happening all over the world, even in closer to where I live. I'm based out of the UK, and it's starting to creep in here. And I think the general consensus is that people don't mind, or the people in charge don't mind short-term rentals. What they want to make sure is that it's safe and it is accredited, and it's just not you fly by the night who are just looking to put any old shack up and try and make money out of. You know what I mean? They want it to be safe. They don't want it to be a bad reputation, because if you dial it back a bit, coming from a bed and breakfast background, for us to open our bed and breakfast, which is in the States, you call it like a small motel, you've got to jump through plenty of hoops. You've got to go through like regulations and et cetera, et cetera. And, it's to make sure that when somebody comes and stays in our property, that they're going to be safe, secure, and they can trust that they're going to, be secure and safe, which is what everybody wants. And, everybody who listens to this podcast, everybody who is in our circles provides that service. But unfortunately, there are people that don't. And those are the ones that you see on the news. Those are the ones that you see get publicized. And regulation, whatever you want to call it, and it's going to be different for me to what it is for you, to what the state over. It's not going to be like a countrywide thing. This is going to be different everywhere, and you'll start to see it pop up more and more. But regulation on a base level is a good thing, because what it will mean is it will make this industry better. It will weed out the bad eggs, and the cream always rises to the top. Okay, and every single one of you that is listening to this podcast, who is striving to be better, who's striving to make themselves better and their business better, you're gonna be the cream, and let everybody else fall out the bottom and go try something else. So that's my view on that.
Well, what's interesting about this business, because you and I both have been in it for a long time, and I find this in new business too, because we own north of 12 companies as well that do different things in business sectors. And where you are with technology and everything, this business, as I describe it, it always keeps you on your toes, because we're still. And so if you're an owner or an operator or a co-host or whatever it is that you do, if you're looking to get into this business, you need to just live with the emotional fact that this business is changing month to month, week to week, year to year. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's sped up even more so in the last 2 years with everything that's gone on around the world and everything that everybody's lived. It's sped up in terms of the technology that is available. Talk about the technology available now to a host who's got one property is as good as the technology that the casinos in Vegas have, and there's a massive shift in this industry. As a prime example, 2019, everybody was focused on hosts or management companies that had 10 plus properties. A lot of vendors in this industry wouldn't even touch you, wouldn't even talk to you if you had 1 to 9 properties. But what's happened with everything that has gone on in the last couple of years, 83% of the whole market is in that 1 to 20 zone. And so everybody's attention now is coming back to the 1 to 20, 1 to 10 property level. And a great indicator of this to sort of back up that sort of theory is look at what Guesty, the big property management software company, did last year. They went and bought Your Porter. Your Porter is more designed to help hosts at 1 to 5 property level. And they've bought it and they've plugged it into their system. And now they've got Guesty for hosts and then they've got Guesty for pros. And you look at where the money is, you look at where the technology is, you look at what is coming into this industry, and it is massively accelerating the tools and the technology that is available to, which I class as my wheelhouse of the people that I help best, anywhere between sort of 1 to 20 sort of properties. And it's amazing to see. And it gives everybody, whether this is your full-time business, your full-time focus, your full-time career, or even if it's just something that you're doing as like a secondary income or a third income, it's helping everybody, which is only a good thing.
So I put out a lot of content and I've been on a lot of podcasts, and there's one topic that I bring up that gets everybody's, we'll just call them knickers. You call them knickers over there.
Knickers and a twist. Yeah, that's
knickers
what we call
and a twist. And I tell them that you can be financially free with 3 properties, and they lose their freaking mind. And so you've been in this space a long time. You help thousands of hosts. I know you've seen them from the inside out because you've seen their business. Mark, am I telling a lie or can it happen?
You're not telling a lie. It can happen. And obviously there's so much context around that statement, but you can 100% do that. And it's just about having the systems and the structure. And, you know, financially free, that financial part is different for so many different people. And you can 100% do it, 100%. And I've seen this industry thrive so much over the 6 years that I've been doing it. And I've worked with people that have got one property that's maybe got 14 bedrooms in it, or I've seen people that have got 10 properties with 1 bedroom in each. You know, there's so many different ways to do this. And what I love about this industry, and specifically thinking back to the event I went and spoke to in Nashville in June at the STR Wealth event, was that every single speaker had brought something new to the table in a different form or way that they are building a living in this industry. And there's so many different ways to tackle it. And it was amazing to see everybody come into the room, because there were some people that were focusing on this side of the industry. There's some people who are focusing on this side, and they all came together. And the cool thing, what I saw from that event on the offside of it, is that people that were so focused on, let's say, arbitrage, had a newfound love for buying and then doing short-term rental on the top of it, and vice versa. And the management model, whatever you want to call it, there's so many different ways to do it. And it doesn't matter whether you've got 1 property or if you've got 3, 5, or 100 or 200. There's loads of ways of doing this. And there's so many cool examples, and there's so many cool podcasts, and there's so many cool YouTube channels and Instagram accounts now that you can latch on to following somebody's journey, join them along the way, and celebrate the wins as you go, which is the best thing that I love. Because 10 years ago, when I was doing this by myself in our family business, there was none of this. There was nobody that you could follow. There was no podcast that you could tune into. There's no Facebook group you could jump into. So in terms of that, yeah, absolutely.
And I think one of the things that are the most exciting for me, that really I didn't expect to come in this quick, because we're working through a couple of different things right now. I'm really loving the expanded, let's call it mindset / options in the lending department. We're seeing a lot more people get used to this hard money, refinance, a lot of exciting stuff that, I'll be frankly honest, 4 years ago did not exist. So, I'm definitely seeing that explode, and it's super nice because they're starting to wrap their head around it a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a ton of money coming into this industry, and there's so many reasons why, the growth and expansion of a big company like Airbnb has obviously caught attention, and is only going to help everybody. That's all it is. You got to be clever, you got to time it, you got to make sure you got your branding in play. You got to be the one that's going to attract the money instead of repelling the money. But it is there. You just got to make sure that you have a plan, you have a goal, you focus. Don't deteriorate from that focus, because there are going to be so many shiny objects that fly around, not just in this industry, but other things coming in. Stay focused, have a goal, work towards that goal, and show up every day. That's the main thing that I say to everybody.
And so we're going to hit kind of your sweet spot here, because, I just walked it on Thursday and then walked another one on Friday. We found a lot of luck, and we're about to go pretty heavy in the mom and pop boutique, 8 to 15 to 20 room hotels that are, some of them are on Airbnb, some of them aren't. With customer team, when you get it dialed in with your team, the cleaners, everything, you can really create a space where you can supercharge something. You can rent it out to groups. You can and do that. When you see a property like this, I'm sure you have clients that you help. These hotels, actually, in my opinion, I think they actually have a better advantage, because they are born out of the direct booking channel. And we're just adding on the extra benefit of OTAs. Is that what you're seeing too?
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, for a lot of people that maybe you're just coming into this world and haven't been around for like a few years, Airbnb has only recently started to work with their calendar on the main property management software that is available, Guesty, Hostfully, etc. They've only recently started to open up their two-way API. Without getting too technical, it used to always be that you had to rely on the iCal feed to be able to sync, but it wasn't talking two-way. It was only a one-way communication. This is so recent. And Airbnb purchased Hotel Tonight before 2020, so about 2019, because what they wanted to do, they wanted to tap into that revenue that they were leaving on the table, which is in the hotels, motels, B&Bs. And because of that, so many people that are purchasing small hotels that are going to run their systems and structures and automation through it, finding that they aren't even listed on Airbnb. And there's so much potential with this. And, my background was a 14-bedroom small hotel on a 200-acre farm stay in the United Kingdom with 3 holiday cottages attached on the back. So this is literally my wheelhouse. It's what I grew up in. It's what what we skilled at. And if you look at it from an operations point of view, fantastic. Laundry is on site. Cleaners are all on site. Deliveries, everything, it's all on site. I've seen so many clients that have taken this model in the UK and around the world that have just expanded and made it even better. So for example, there's a client of mine who is based in the UK, purchased, got hold of the apartment block, every single apartment, which is technically like a small hotel, and you've got the laundry mat at the bottom. What she is doing now is not only has she got a central hub for all the laundry, but she has also taken on clients from around the local area to do the laundry for as well. And how has she got those clients? Super simple. They just see every single day people coming in and out of her building with the branded bags and going, and they Google it, they give her a call and they go, yeah, absolutely. That's a new client, because she tapped into something, a pain point. She scratched her own itch, because the nearest laundry provider was about a 20-30 minute drive away. And it was a pain point to her. So she took over a building, which is technically a small hotel that's been flipped and changed around. And she got the laundromat in, and it was to scratch her own itch. But in the offset, people now are coming to there, and it's paying for herself 2, 3, 4, 5 times over, which is amazing.
Thank you for confirming what I just told my partners this morning. We have 10 commercial units, above 10 units that we're going to turn into a hotel. I'm going to remove one of the tenants, and we're going to own the business that does linens and towels for Airbnb clients. And it's not only going to scratch our itch and give us a good profit margin on our service, it's also going to bring in maybe possible properties we can buy and stuff like that.
100%. I'd be making sure that every one of the laundry bags is branded, making sure that if they go out on vans, trucks, get the vans branded. You will, just by doing that, by having people coming in and out of the building every day. Like, she was literally one day walking through the town with a laundry bag on the back, and somebody stopped her in the street and said, well, what are you doing? She said, I'm doing this, da, 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 da. She said, I've got about 4 properties. I'm really struggling at the moment for X, Y, and Z. Can you help? not only did she take over the laundry, she also became a co-host. So it's
amazing.
Dude, it's just so easy. I mean, this is the thing that I'm fascinated about more than ever at the moment. We all love online advertising. We all love social media. We all love Google ads. We all love Facebook ads. But the thing that I'm fascinated the most about at the moment is the offline advertising that we are sleeping on and missing out on. The thing that I posted up in my community recently is sandwich boards. You normally see Subway, somebody stood on the side of the road flipping a sandwich board and whatnot. You will always remember that. And just imagine if you had your business, say 3 or 4 people that you could hire, college kids or whatever, so somebody who just needs a job, just pay them with your branded sandwich boards to spin around and just be around in the town, be present, have on there that you've got X amount of accommodation in the local area, whether it's a friend or a family member who needs a place to stay, whatever you want to brand and put on there, have and test that. I guarantee that you'll get more inquiries, you'll have more website traffic hits, you'll have more emails coming in and anything else you can do on social media that day. And if not that, I've seen these big trucks that's got like day advertising boards, and they go and park at huge events and they just leave the truck with the big branding on the back of it. They leave them at the events for the day and they come pick up later at night. And again, if you're say that you're at a college town or you've got a football stadium or baseball stadium or anything that's in and around your area, and you go and leave some of it's got your advertising on outside those big stadiums, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 fans walking past it saying, hey, next time you come to the area, do you need accommodation? Do you need a place to stay? 50,000 50 properties in the area, best rates when you book direct. I guarantee you'll get more traffic, more hits with a nice little QR code on than you could any other advertising that you'll do that day, and it'll probably cost a fraction of the cost. These sort of things are just going through my head more and more. It's the offline marketing that we could be doing.
Didn't you, during your speech at the conference in Nashville, didn't you have everybody post on their Facebook page about their property, and didn't they get a ton of bookings?
Yes. So one of the things I wanted to test on stage was to see if we could get a direct booking while my talk was happening for 45 minutes. And right at the very start, I got everybody just to tap into, it wasn't even like the social media aspect. It was to tap into their contacts, tap into the friends, family members, ex-co-workers, people that are on their phone book. And it was some people who actually took it a step further and put a post out on social media. But the question was, don't just ask somebody if they want a place to stay. So I wouldn't message you, Austin, and go, hey, do you need a place to stay? Because it's a very direct question. Instead, you ask an open-ended question where you're asking if you know anybody. So the way that we went was structure it as, hey, Austin, do you know anybody who needs a place to stay in wherever? Scarborough, wherever, New York, wherever your location is, in the Smokies, whatever it is. And by doing so, you're not asking them directly to make a purchase with you, because that's just, that's too direct. Instead, you're asking the question, do you know anyone? And if you ask enough people, as is proved, there will be somebody in their network that is looking for a place to stay. It could be somebody that's got a wedding coming up, who's coming just to see family and they don't want them to stay with them. It could be a business person or whatever it may be, but it's tapping into that network. And, I think, my personal belief, everybody in your phone book, there's about 70% of the people in your phone book who haven't got a clue what you do for a living. And so by asking that question, be continuously, then there will be bookings that are in there just waiting. You just need to tap into it. You just need to ask the question. And the problem is we're too scared, or we're too shy, or we're too nervous. Right? Well, I don't think I could text my friend. I don't want to pester my friend. And my honest sort of kickback to that is, you can't ask the people who know, like, love and trust you, how are you going to ask a stranger to make a booking with you? You know what I mean? Like, your friends will support you. Your friends would love to help you. And that's exactly what happened on stage. We asked that question. I asked people to post it up. 1,000 people in the room. Let's just say, I reckon 30 people did it. Somebody came up to me after the talk and said, listen, 8 minutes later, I had a reservation in my email. I had a reservation. I had a booking, direct booking via my website in my email from just posting that question. So amazing.
I love it. We just posted about our wedding venue 2 minutes ago, and I got 2 wedding inquiries. So
yeah,
it's totally,
it works.
Yeah. So I have something interesting, and I just saw it, and I'm curious. Are you familiar? Do you know anything about 30A? In
30A.
It's called 30A in Florida, like Destin, Panama City. Do you know anything about that?
I do, but I do not. Let me check it out. 30A.
So it's a scenic drive. that's very trafficky, but 90% of it is bikes. And so it's this really beautiful area on the beach. And what you find out is this entire development, there's like 6 different companies in there, is all STR, the entire thing. Shops, restaurants, bikes, everything. We found out that one of the developments in there is worth $9 billion. And the guy that was brokering our deal, his boss started in 2009, and she manages 150 units just in that area.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
And so my point is, when you find those areas like that, and people are spread all over the place, and you don't got to be me, you don't got to be in every other state, but you can literally make your hay in just one area and just be really great. And you know what's crazy about? She works with 27 different cleaning companies, and she trains every single cleaner herself, the owner. And she had the greatest idea ever, and I probably shouldn't share it, but I don't care because I'm going to make sure she does it. She wanted to create a cleaning academy where you could send your cleaners and she would show them. She has like a 2-hour training with like some other stuff. It's these aspects. And I was going to bring back to your hotel point. You know, the number one thing that I look at when I buy a hotel, you would think it's the rooms and you would think it's the location. What does the washer and dryer look like? Because I'm guarantee you, I'm going to upgrade to the best commercial one you can get. The cleaner, the washer and dryer, these are the things that it doesn't matter how good your property is, that can take your property down. And when you're in the game long enough, you understand these aspects are way more important than the other stuff.
Yeah, no, massively. No, things like that, 38 is prime example of just becoming the go-to. And that lady you were talking about, becoming the go-to in your niche and your location, either or. I mean, I know there's a lot of people, especially in the States and Canada, it's a much more common model to sort of live on the East and have your properties on the West and all that jazz. But even if you're not living in the area where your locations are, your properties are, how can you become the go-to in your niche and in your community? And she has obviously built that up fantastically well. And there's so many.
And she owns a brokerage too that sells for investors. You know, it's it's like, man, it's so perfect. I love it. Super nice. I'm working with her leader of the brokerage. We're going to do some business together. And it's just like these certain things. But I tell you what, Mark, that blew me away. And I knew about this because I've done this business forever and my ex-wife did it. But we're seeing some of the fees that we can get for this wedding venue. And I'll be honest with you, man, my real estate partners are like, I don't even know if I want to do regular real estate anymore. Because when you can take it's big outdoors with we're going to create a dance hall. There's cabins on the property so we can Airbnb it. We can do weddings. Man, I'm telling you, like, I know you work with so many people from all over the world. Have you seen people really just go to town and crush it with those venues that you can create different experiences?
I speak firsthand. We put in a wedding venue, a wedding license in our property, and the thing about weddings, what we do, short-term rentals, hospitality, we make memories. That is exactly what we're here to do. You make memories. Whether people come and stay with you for a vacation or a workcation or whatever, staycation, we create memories. And I can't think of really many other industries that are out there where we have this effect on people. Because there'll be family reunions or friends reunions in 10 years, and they'll talk about and they'll remember the place that they stayed. Okay. And they will be talked about. And with the wedding, there's not many times in your life that you get that experience where you've got everybody around and you are having that amazing feel of it. And the cool thing about a wedding venue, and we speak firsthand to this, is that you have a guests come and get married at your property. You've got the people that come there as well. Every year on that date, you will potentially have the bride and groom or a member of that party want to come back and stay to celebrate the anniversary. Or you've got all of those sort of aspects that you dig in. And I can speak firsthand to it, is that because it's a wedding, and if you've got enough room, you're not just going to fill up your location, you're also going to help benefit other local hospitality businesses in your area as well. We had weddings where we didn't just fill up ours, we were tapping into every single rental property, bed and breakfast, hotel, wherever would take guests in and around, maybe a 10-mile radius of in and around where we were, especially on weddings that were the guests had a big family or big friend group, etc. So it not only benefits you, but it benefits the local community as well. As long as you've got your systems and your structures right, and you've got the right, event manager in place, you've got it all where it's tidy and good and guest behaved, because we all know what happens at weddings. But as long as you've got all that down, it's one of the best things that you can do in terms of like what you look at profit. Absolutely. It's unreal.
Well, I love it. And before we get you out of here, we might get you a little spicy on this, but I have concerns, and it's definitely changed the way I travel. I travel a lot, and, I'm an Airbnb guy, but lately I've been staying in hotels a lot, right? Let's just say I'm not too happy about some of these fees I'm seeing when it comes to Airbnb bookings. And then more importantly, what they're taking from the host, where I get it. Everybody's got to make money. But even for the guest, I concern, you book, it's $100 a night, and then you look up and now it's $190 a night, basically, with fees. Is there a breaking point with this stuff? I've read some message boards where people are getting really upset. I don't really like, I'll just be 100% clear. I'm not a fan of the owner of Airbnb at all. So it doesn't really hurt my feelings, but where's the breaking point? Because I remember when I was doing it heavily, this is not what it was. I'm concerned. And that's why I think what you do is so much more important too.
Yeah, no, I mean, there will be a breaking point. And it's not just like one person talking about this now. It's a big amount of people that are talking about not just the fees, many aspects. And, Airbnb are obviously trying to become the Amazon of the world of hospitality. They are wanting to dominate this industry. They want to become the monopoly. They want to be everything in this industry. And their growth is exponential. For years, they've been trying to play catch up with the Booking Holidays group, which own Agoda and Booking.com, and the Expedia group, which is obviously Vrbo, Expedia, etc. And over the last sort of couple of years, you could argue that they've not only caught up, they've surpassed them. And because of that, becoming more well-known, fees are going up, all of that jazz. The reason why what I talk about is so important is that, and I bring it back to the book that I released, the Book Direct Playbook. I had zero option to put it anywhere else than Amazon. I couldn't do it direct. I haven't got a publishing company, like printing company behind me or anything like that. I had to put it on Amazon because Amazon have built it up so much over the last sort of 20 odd years that they are the only option. And for every book that I sell on Amazon, I have to give up 66% of my total cost in commission to the Amazon behemoth. And it sucks, but it's my only option. Now, we are very lucky at the moment in the world of hospitality is that we still have a choice. We still can do this. We still can have guests come book with us directly, because when a guest books with us directly, we've got no commission to pay. We don't have to answer to a middleman. It's on our rules. We can do, it's our guest, right? With Airbnb at the moment, because they've been playing catch up, they started with that 3% commission and then the guest pays whatever percent. They are now slowly starting to change it. And now if you connect up your Airbnb to a property management software, then you then go on their business sort of portfolio, where then the commission goes up to 14%. And the 14% is funny because if anybody's been on Booking.com and Vrbo, you'll know that your commission rate starts at 15%. So there's a little fuck you to Booking.com and Vrbo, etc. by doing 14%. And when you pay the 14%, then the guest doesn't have to pay a service charge. Now, what I can see happening, what I envision happening is, this is just my opinion, but if Airbnb continue to grow and grow at the level that they're at, and Vrbo and Booking.com go down and Airbnb increases, what is stopping them turning around to all of the hosts and go, that 14% that you're currently paying? Well, I don't think it's fair because we're generating 80, 90% of your total bookings. So let's put that commission up to 20%. And then they can come back and put it up to 30, 40. They go, well, I actually think this is a 50-50 relationship. Let's do 50%. There's nothing stopping them doing that. What would stop them is you, I, and all of the listeners actually paying attention to direct bookings, sort of figuring this out and how you can generate your own bookings and not have to rely on Airbnb. even if you just spread your bookings out, and you go 30% with one channel, 30% with the other, 30% with other, and then a 10% direct, it's doing better than just putting all of your eggs in one basket. Because when you do that, you are literally playing by their rules. You are building your house, your whole business on someone else's land. And it's very risky when you start to do it. And so by reading the playbook, prime example, 101 tips, they cost barely any money to do, but it's a fantastic place to start. By listening to the podcast like this and jumping over to like the Boostly podcast, it's so important to do, because this industry, and I talk about it, I mentioned it last time I was on, I've mentioned it to all the other episodes that I've been on and all the other podcasts, is that in this industry, we are very, very lucky in that we can start a business tomorrow, take a couple of pictures on our iPhone, throw it up on one or two websites, and be pretty much guaranteed to get a reservation and money coming in. I don't know any other industry that does that. I'm trying to think, and I have Boostly, we do websites. There's no website listing site for me to go and list my services while guaranteed to be getting revenue. So that's a blessing, but it's also a curse, because it's so easy. You become over-reliant and lazy, and you just go, sorry, Airbnb will sort it. But the problem is when you go down that route is that you become over-reliant, and anything could happen. I've seen it so much in these last 4 months. Airbnb will deactivate your listing. They will cancel your account. They will ghost you on the listings for whatever reason. I've seen some reviews, I've seen some postings where a host reported that their listings dropped down, their rating dropped down to 4.3, and Airbnb cancelled their account. So you are literally could wake up one morning and it's gone. Mm-hmm. And this is a problem, because then you are literally giving all of your power to somebody else. So, we talk about fees, we talk about rates, we talk about all of that, but it boils down to is that if the owner of that property had any nous about them, they would be adopting the tactics. They'll be shopping around, they'll making sure that their rates are the best, the most competitive. They'll be educating the guests on their website to clearly state why they should book direct. They should be taking advantage of the fact now that there are so many service providers. There's so much tools and technology that helps host from 1 unit to 100 units, more than ever before. There is so much available that it's actually crazy if you're not tapping into it and trying to build a really good, I would say 65% of every single one of your bookings should be direct, with a 35% others. And I class others as all of them. So if you're not going to get to 65%, then there's a danger that Airbnb could do what I've just mentioned about Amazon.
So perfect. If people want to find the book, they want to hear the podcast, they want to read the other book, how would they do that?
So Book Direct Playbook, just go check it out on Amazon. That's the best place to go buy it. It's on Kindle, it's on Audible. If you want to find out more about what we're doing with everything else, the best place to start is Instagram. I love Instagram. Come and have a chat. It's at Boostly UK, BOOSTLY UK. Come and say hi. Come and say that you discovered us on the podcast, and we'll go from there.
I love it, guys. If you got some value from this episode, send it to a friend, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.